Thanks for tuning in to our seller interview series. Up today, we've got an Amazon FBA business for sale in the health and personal care niche. Created in December 2014, this business makes $4,093 per month in net profit, and the listing number for this business is 40914. Now, we do these interviews to give potential buyers more information about both the seller and the sites they're looking to purchase. We hope these insights are helpful for you in making a buying decision. We've got the seller with us today to go through the business and cover everything from niche selection to traffic and monetization. Thanks for coming on, Kurt.
Thanks for having me, Greg. I'm excited to get going.
Yeah, me too, man. Before we dive too deep into it, let me just do a quick summary for everyone listening in. As I mentioned already, the business was built in December 2014, has a monthly revenue of $19,354, with expenses sitting at $15,262 for that total net profit of $4,093. Now that is over a 12-month average, and included with the sale is the domain, all the site content files and social media accounts attached to that domain. And just as a disclosure for everyone out there listening in, inventory is not normally included in the list price, but further details can be provided to active depositors. So that being said, Kurt, can you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses? Is this kind of your first one, or is it one of many?
This is the first one when it comes to sort of e-commerce and physical products. I got into the online game in 2012, I think. I started out making basically micro niche sites, as I know you guys at Empire Flippers used to be very familiar with, and built many of those, and came across someone that I knew who was doing a physical products brand, and they suggested I look into this training course, which I did based on their recommendation. And turns out that a lot of the skills that I'd learned as an internet marketer were applicable to this. So I jumped in and got started with this in December 2014. And so now I do a mixture of both this, and I still carry on those affiliate sites, which are now more authority style, just because I love doing them so much. So that is my online background.
Awesome, yeah, you're correct in that Empire Flippers also is very familiar with niche sites. That's where we began as well, and we're now looking at it because as far as I know and as far as we can tell, we're now the current leaders for Amazon FBA as far as being the business for buying and selling them. So it's kind of cool. We're matching your journey.
Exactly, yeah.
Every time you build a new business, we'll pivot for that one, I guess.
So, I keep coming back. I think I've sold like 6 or 7 sites with you guys.
Oh, awesome, great. So how did you come up with the idea for this product in particular? Did you do competitor research, or was it something you were already interested in?
Well, I was actually very familiar with the niche because 2 of my affiliate sites in the past, one of which I sold actually, were in this particular niche. So it was just when I was brainstorming, I came up with like 10 different niches that I could go into, did a little bit of research, and I talked to someone who was doing this and giving training on the sort of the physical product side of things. And I said, well, I've got this experience. I know the lay of the land. So like, do you think that gives me a leg up? And he said, absolutely. So I just sort of threw everything else in the back burner and went ahead with the industry that I already knew, because I could, reach out to people who had sites that I knew, and I knew sort of what the customers were looking for already, which allowed us to get in and, get a successful product right out of the gate.
Very cool. Now, for someone that is brand new to Amazon FBA, and maybe even somewhat new to online businesses and looking at this as maybe their first acquisition, could you just briefly describe how Amazon FBA works, how your business is currently actually making the money?
Sure. So we source products from manufacturers, some of whom are in the United States and some of whom are in China. And we basically tell them what we want to have made. They make it for us. They do the creation of the product, the packaging, the labeling if necessary, and they get ready to ship. And then we just simply send them shipping labels, typically for UPS. In the case of China, we get that air couriered typically because the products are light enough that it's fairly cost effective to do and it's quick. And they send it into Amazon. Amazon then puts everything into their inventory in the warehouse, and then customers can shop on Amazon and find the product. So from start to finish, I just communicate with the people who are making the product. And, I never necessarily need to touch the product. Of course, I do, because I want to make sure it's a good, solid quality product before we release it. But it's very hands-off in terms of, actually having a physical products business. You could be doing it anywhere, which, as we've just talked about, I am doing. I spent the last 7 months in Thailand, and I spent the last 2 or 3 months here in Eastern Europe, and we launched 2 new products during that time. So yeah, in terms of a new buyer, I think it's actually a really good model because you can do as much or as little as you want.
Yeah, absolutely. It does take away a lot of the obstacles that a traditional e-commerce store represents. Which is one of the reasons I really love the Amazon FBA world. It can be a bit dangerous getting sucked into their platform and becoming too committed to them in the sense that it's just, it is so much easier in some senses than a traditional e-commerce store. With that said, once these things are up and going, they tend to be fairly easy to manage. You're ordering product and so forth. Why are you selling the business? Why not keep it and grow it?
For me, this is sort of a new beginning. Like we were saying again, we've been traveling for the last 9 months with our two young kids. And I have found in this time that I've learned a whole lot about myself. And I know that I don't want to get too deep into that, but one of the things I've learned is that
existential moment.
yeah. One of the things I've learned is that I love to start things and then sort of either hand them off or sell them. Like I said before, I've sold like 6 or 7 sites and certainly, could have kept growing them, but I like the idea of growing something or starting something. And then I sort of just go, well, I want to get back into that. And when it hasn't been started for a long time, I just get that itch to start something. So it's just a time when, moving back to our hometown, trying to start off on a new foot with all this experience from traveling the last 9 months. And it just feels like the right time for me to start something new. And because of that, I would like, a little bit of capital to put into that new venture, whatever that may be, and just take some time to sort of dissect the last 9 months of my life and, start fresh. So, I mean, it's good and solid. I'm completely prepared to carry on with it, but I'm pretty sure someone will also see the opportunity like I did. So
what's the plan after the sale then? Are you committing the capital towards any new project? Are you using that to take some time off, or what's the plan for that?
A mix of both, actually. I am starting a new affiliate site, which I have high hopes for because I've got actually some people who have been working for me now, like an SEO manager and customer service and stuff like that. So I now see that I can't get away from affiliate sites, basically. I've tried and I've sold them and I've started again. And it's like, I realize that that's one of the things I absolutely love to do. So that will go into some content and some link building, stuff like that. And then, yeah, I'd like to have sort of just a buffer to take a little while to chill out and see what, I'd really like to do.
So when you first started this business, so you source the product, you get it live in the Amazon warehouse and it goes live on the actual listing pages for Amazon. What was that like in the first few months? Did you see that you're getting customers right away, or did it take a while for that to kind of happen?
For us, for some reason, our first product just was excellent out of the gate. One of the reasons for that is I think just because of the training that I'd received and the people I had listened to their advice. I mean, obviously, one of the things we did, and this is the thing I've done all throughout, and I would highly suggest that the next owner continues. When we launch products, we actually solicit buyer or customer feedback before we even launch it. And this does two things. First of all, it makes sure that we're actually launching a product that people want. Because, I mean, for one of our products, it was like we needed to have a scent, for example. Like we could pick anything. We could be like, any color, for example, if you're picking a product with color, any scent for something that smells, you could pick anything, but we had no idea. So like, if you're going to launch one product, which one do you pick that's going to be a winner? So we just went out there and we did some Facebook advertising to a survey page where people who we targeted, who we knew were in our industry, would just answer what they actually wanted. So we just built that product. And you can find out a lot of good stuff that way. So on the one hand, it's legitimate customer research. And on the other hand, we're getting emails from those people in exchange for giving them a coupon code for one of our other products. So this is like one of our biggest tips for both building a customer email list and for launching successful products. And I really do think that's one of the reasons, because we were able to launch to those people who had given us feedback in the last couple of months while we were building the product. And because we had talked to them, we knew it was exactly what those people wanted. So, the first couple of months out of the gate, we've sort of reached a pretty good point.
Wow. You're the first person I've heard that has validated the product in that way, at least in this business model that I've talked to. I think that's awesome. So you basically created a survey based around the product that you thought the market would want, and then you advertised that survey and saw their feedback and made any adjustments from there. Is that more or less correct?
Yeah, we had sort of the general idea of what product we wanted to do. We just didn't know the specifics. And like I said, we've done that for every single one of our products now, and it's always paid off a lot.
That's great. I think it was Tim Ferriss I first heard something similar to on that about building a validation for a $1 million business by spending $50 on some ads real quick before you even build the product. That's cool.
Yeah, I think it's super important.
That's a great real life example of someone doing that right there. So, is there anything you learned from this business, and maybe maybe it's that content survey that you did? Is there anything you learned from this business that you might apply to future businesses, like something that just stands out that worked really well for you?
Well, almost everything. I mean, this has been so much different than just running a few affiliate sites, which are completely hands off. And I mean, actually, I say that and I go like, well, this is basically hands off too, but it's in a different way.
Right. A little bit more stress with the actual products that you source and everything, I'm assuming.
yeah. I mean, you want the marketing side of things has been really interesting. I mean, I'm personally interested in that, so it's neat to be able to test things like the survey idea that we were talking about. But I mean, I'll take pretty much everything I've learned and apply it to whatever I do next. It's just you can try things easily because Amazon does everything. Like you don't have to worry about. I looked into sourcing this stuff and opening an e-commerce store and all that kind of stuff, and I just went like, what's the point? I mean, unless we've maxed out Amazon, and I know people who do that. I mean, unless you're making like millions already on Amazon, literally, there's typically no point to go off of Amazon. And I know people are very worried about, okay, well, what if Amazon goes away? Well, I mean, they're absolutely crushing the e-commerce, even the retail world right now. And for me, there was no point wasting resources on things like setting up our own Shopify store and finding a shipping partner and finding a warehouse partner and being able to ship stuff to customers from a Shopify store. It just didn't make sense because it was going to cost way too much money when I knew that I could spend that money putting product into Amazon, advertising on Amazon, and coming away with guaranteed revenue, for example. So I think that not necessarily going the easiest route, but not getting infatuated with shiny objects has been a really big thing that I've learned here because I've done those things. I've spent the money and gone like, man, why did I do that? So I think I've really learned to prioritize and just focus on the things that you're doing well. And that's business in general. I don't want to waste my time with stuff I don't really know. So I just outsource it now and I just focused on Amazon.
Yeah, I totally understand what you mean there. It is super easy to get lost in the weeds, and especially in the online world where there is so much opportunity, there's just so little time to take advantage of everything that's out there. With that said, it sounds like this kind of, you already answered it, but is there anything you tried that didn't work? You mentioned that you tried a little bit with the Shopify stuff, it sounds like, but is that the thing that stands out that just didn't work for you, or is there another lesson learned there?
There's a couple things. One is, the e-commerce thing. It wasn't the right time. I mean, we're not maximized on Amazon. I think there's a ton of room to grow. So I don't see why you would. I mean, unless you've got that history in the past of being able to launch an e-commerce store, then that would be fantastic. That's clearly a long-term play for a business like this. But I just, wasted time, wasted money, and just should have put that back into Amazon because it was working. Another thing is don't be afraid to shop around for your supplier. For the first year, we had a supplier who just kept increasing the price and, basically stagnating in terms of quality. And I just went like, oh, well, how am I going to find another supplier? It's going to be too hard. This is just easy. And so for a year or something, I just spent way too much on inventory and, could have been making a lot more profit in that time if I had just taken a step back and, worked on my business, as people like to say, rather than in it. So I would just make sure that you're in a headspace where you always take a step back and figure out what you need to do. That's been sort of the biggest, other than the Shopify tactical thing, that's just been the biggest lesson overall is you got to continue to look at this as though you're just getting into it. Because when you're just getting into it, you're sourcing products, you're talking to a ton of different suppliers, you want to find the best of the best. And when you've got a thing that's sort of working, it's hard to put all that work back in to try and fix it because it's mostly working, but it's not quite ideal. So I've had to learn the hard way to come into this entire business every day going, okay, what are my assumptions and how can we challenge those to get better?
That's a really good point. We always tell people one of the best ways to maximize selling your business, or just the business in general when it comes to supplying, is having multiple suppliers so you don't get caught into that game of them raising the prices on you with you having no options. So that's good you started veering away from that. The site itself, or the listing rather, are you driving most of the traffic to your listing from Amazon organic search, or are you also doing Amazon PPC? Are you doing anything else outside of the Amazon ecosystem?
Yeah, we've got a number of ways. I think most of it is just Amazon organic search, but we also do Amazon PPC, which is pretty standard. We send emails to our list with a follow-up sequence, like an autoresponder, which makes a sale here and there from people who have bought one of our other products, and then they'll get an email telling them, about the virtues of our other products, and they'll buy one of those. For example, we just launched a new product, and used our email list to do that. And that sold, a couple hundred over a couple days at, a break even tiny amount of profit, which is a lot better than having to give stuff away for $1 or for free. So that's another way we get stuff. And we also have a little bit of traffic coming to our website, which rather than having a product e-commerce page, we just link them straight to Amazon. So people coming to our website looking for our products will end up at Amazon anyway. So yeah, there's 3 or 4 ways that we get people to the listing.
Very cool. When it comes to earning types, how many products do you have under this brand?
The numbers for this particular listing are based off of 2 products for the brand and plus a third product for a secondary brand, which is in the seller account. I started that brand with parents-in-law, actually, and it just wasn't given the love that it needed because I was so focused on this other brand. So there are 3 products in there right now that are counted in the listing, but there are also 2 that we have recently launched over the last 2 months that are not counted. One of which literally just stopped launching it 2 days ago, and one of which is now doing between 10 and 15 sales a day. So yeah, there is 5 products in total, 3 of which are counted in the listing, 2 of which are recently launched.
That's great. It's basically whoever buys this business is getting 2 additional revenue-making products for no additional cost and actually buying the business from you, which is nice for them, for sure.
Yeah, that was, to me, it might seem strange to launch products and then sell the business without reaping the benefits of those in the sales price. But for me, it's just, I've learned a lot that it's more important for me to have mental clarity and stability when it comes to these sort of things rather than just waiting and going, I really want to start something new. But then, if I just wait, I'm just more of the personality type that I just want to get stuff done right now. So yeah, we have launched those 2 new products and pretty excited about them. They're really good and they're getting great feedback and actually making sales so far. So yeah, that's, I think, probably one of the biggest benefits to buying this business is you get 2 revenue producers that are not included in the sales price. So they're basically free money.
That's great. Now, out of those 2 new products aside, those 3 products that are included in the listing, would you say that one of them out-earns the other one by a lion's share, or are all 3 of them pretty equal in the amount they are earning your business?
Well, there's 2 of them that are with the main brand, and they probably make about the same, but one of them makes significantly more per sale. So one of them has a margin that's just much higher and doesn't sell quite as much, but when it does, it certainly makes a lot per sale.
Nice, very cool. So you have a kind of a high ticket and a low ticket item in those 2 products.
Yeah, and they're all, exactly, and it's a brand, so they're very complementary. We're able to, tell people who buy one or the other to buy the other one that they haven't bought because, you can use them together, and you'll get better results if you do. And the same goes for the 2 other products that we did launch. You can use them all together to, have better results.
And how stable are their earnings? So have you noticed any kind of seasonality throughout the year with these products?
There's a bit of a bump at Christmas because it's a really good product to get for males for Christmas, for example. And otherwise, the ups and downs in revenue mostly come when we're launching a new product and we have done a blast with a blast service where we've given away product for, $1, for example, and the promo codes are, causing the profit of that month to be lower. Or, for example, in January, the first time this has happened forever, and I'm very upset about it, we ran out of our higher ticket item, which was not too good. So other than those things, it's pretty steady. It's been steady all the way along.
Have you used your branded site at all to add content? I know you have a background in affiliate marketing and authority site building, so have you done anything like that with your site currently?
Yeah, we have. We've got a list of content that we would be putting up if we continue on with the brand, which of course will be included to anyone who is interested in it. But we do have a blog on the website that also links, basically all the content points to here's why you should buy our products. And they're also ranking, decently well across Google. And the site collects email addresses, which of course is important for just, if you are worried about Amazon being your single channel, it's nice and helpful to have that email list. So I think on that, just as a side note, I think there's about 5,500 emails that will be included as well.
Nice.
So yeah, the site, you can certainly, that's one of the other opportunities. If we are 100% sure going to, move ahead with that, then I would suggest talking to the person that I currently have on my SEO team, because I know he does have some extra bandwidth. And, it would be nice or a bonus to continually add more people to the top of the funnel, which will then head to Amazon and hopefully buy the products. So there's about 3,500 unique people that hit the site every month right now.
So with that said, when it comes to shipping your products, are you sourcing them from China, or are you sourcing your products from America? Where are they coming from?
There are 2 products being made in the States and 2 in China, plus actually the one product from the secondary brand is also from China. So yeah, it's a mix of both.
Excellent. The ones from China, are you shipping those in by air or by boat?
We've always done air just because the product's not that heavy, and for the benefit you get of having it in Amazon in like 10 days rather than who knows how long. I've never even done a sea shipment because I don't know. I can't be bothered to wait. I'm sure you'd probably save like 50 cents or something, but it's not that expensive to fly at air courier. So yeah, I mean, getting it there in a week or 10 days has always been significantly more advantageous to us. A lot of the time, just from cash flow reasons, than going through sea shipping. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that completely. Moving to some opportunities, let's pretend that hypothetically you wanted to keep this business and keep growing it. What would be the least risky path you'd focus on to grow this business?
I would probably keep launching products like we're doing. I went to a conference last October, I think it was, and the light just went off. It was like, oh yeah, I kept going, okay, we should just try and maximize these 2 products we have and settle down and just get those totally on. And somebody in passing said, oh yeah, the only way you get ahead in FBA is just launch more products. And I went like, oh man, what am I even doing? So I have a plan this year to launch yeah, I have a plan to launch like 2 products per quarter over the next year, basically, such that by the end of the year we would have 10 products in the stable. So that I think is probably like just the easiest way. I don't know why. It's kind of like the inventory thing. You're working in the business and then you take a step back, someone says something and you go, oh man. So yeah, that would be like my number one, working on the business. I've got, supplier contacts. I've got quotes for even a few of those things that I had ideas about. It's just a matter of then putting them through, doing a little bit of Facebook advertising to get those survey responses, and then launching to that survey list who I know will buy at break even or better a few hundred units to get the rankings on Amazon going. So that would be the easiest way to continue on growing.
And on the flip side here, what would you do if you were incredibly risky, you just kind of threw caution to the wind and wanted to grow the business as quickly as possible?
Well, maybe the same thing. I don't even know. My risk aversion is, I'm not very risk averse, I guess. I mean, I will have risk all the time. I quit my job when I found out my wife was having our first child, moved across the country and went off on my own to start doing niche sites, which is probably not a responsible thing to do in many people's eyes. Traveled around the world with 2 young kids running this business. I mean, risk for one person, I don't know. I can only speak for myself, and that might not be the best thing to do. But yeah, I mean, if you had the capital, and that's what I think would be a huge opportunity, is if you have the capital to launch these products quickly, just launch as many as possible. Because for me, doing that Facebook survey and launch thing has been super successful. So I would just do as many as possible. Never mind, 1 or 2 a quarter. I just put them all right away, because if you can afford the cash flow on that, then that would probably be the way to boost sales pretty quickly all across the board. Because especially you can play those products off of each other. Like I was saying before, they all do work together. So people who bought one will buy 2, 3, 4 of the other ones. Risky, I don't know. I try not to do things risky anymore because of, friends I've had with the whole PBN debacle and people doing things that are not with Amazon's terms of service. I just, like I said, generally totally fine with risk, but when it comes to playing things straight, I prefer to stay on the side of, the rules. So I don't know if there's any other way to maximize it. Otherwise, that would not be necessarily my strength. So yeah, hopefully buyers have certain strengths that they can put in this, whether that's continuing to grow the niche side of the website where you get more traffic to the listings, or launching new products. So
now, can you describe, we talked a little bit about what you do with low risk and high risk, but for a buyer looking at this business, what is the biggest risk that you see for this business that buyers should be aware of before they purchase it?
Probably a couple. I mean, one of them would be the general industry itself. Is it going to continue on for decades? Do you need to make the money now? I think it's probably got a long shelf life on it, but I mean, you have to do your own research on that. Another thing is just basically Amazon competition. We are one of the more premium brands out there, so we're not going to be the absolute cheapest. You could certainly take that another way if you wanted to, depending on how much of a margin you're interested in making. We want to make a little bit more of a margin, and we therefore put in the work required to make us a more premium company so that we could justify charging a higher price. So, I mean, maybe the Amazon market continues to get flooded with people like, FBA sellers, and the price keeps going down and down. And, maybe you can't keep up the high quality of service that we've got. It doesn't seem that likely because I think people are actually consolidating on Amazon these days. So there's probably not as many new people coming in.
Well, it's also, it's just harder to come in nowadays with the changes in the reviews system, and they're making it a little bit more difficult to launch products. So yeah, I could see less people coming in potentially, or at least not as much successfully. Probably still a lot of people coming in, just more failures.
Yeah. It's just, I guess it's industry as a whole, whether or not you can continue the high quality that our customers have come to expect and therefore command those higher prices. And then just, making sure, well, not making sure because I guess you can't, but if the people who are sort of the cheapest continue to go cheaper, which sometimes you see in Amazon circles if there's a race to the bottom. But like you said, because it's harder to get in, I'm really hopeful for myself and for all FBA sellers that I know that, that sort of day is over, because when you're doing things right and a whole bunch of people come in and, blast you to the bottom with pricing, then it might be good for a couple months for the consumer, but, eventually all these good companies with actually high quality products can't keep up. And I think those days are done, like you're talking about there. But yeah, those are a couple of things that come to mind.
Definitely worthwhile to mention. Now, when it comes to work required, what are you currently doing right now to maintain this business as is? So what does your weekly task or maybe monthly task look like running this business?
Well, we have a part-time customer service person. I say part-time just because of the hours she puts in. She's literally available all around the clock, which is super helpful because you've only got 24 hours to respond to things on Amazon when they come in, lest you get a overtime rating. So that's been really useful, taking off a lot of my plate in terms of customer service, allowing me to work more on the business. So she does 1 to 10 hours a week, and she replies to basically everything: emails, Seller Central messages, reviews, seller feedback, voicemail, Facebook, everything like that. So that's something she will do. I know she's interested in staying on for the next owner. For me, I make sure that we are staying in stock, and I do things like optimizing the listings. So we always run split tests on pictures and prices and stuff like that, and make sure that we're getting the best conversions and profit for each product. And like I was saying before, I have been researching heavily the next 6 to 10 products that we could launch, because we've got to get suppliers, we've got to get quotes, we've got to get packaging done and all that kind of stuff. So that's been taking up a lot of my time lately. And then I still write emails and stuff like that. I think one of my strengths is putting together emails and copy and that kind of thing. So I like to do that. We've just launched a couple of products. So obviously I'm writing emails to our lists that have come in from Facebook advertising and surveys, as well as writing to our existing customers. So there's been emails, there's been finding out from suppliers about new products. In the past, there's been coming up with content ideas to get a writer to do for the website. It really depends on exactly where your focus is. I mean, I could basically do nothing and just make sure that we don't run out of product. And I could do like an hour a week if I really wanted. But, this is what I do. It's, the main brand I've got. So I like to, just look to the future a little bit and make sure we're not falling behind. So you can do as much or as little as you want, I think. But that's what my, tasks look like. It's hard to put them into a single week structure because I do lots of different things.
I understand that completely. Is there any skills that you'd suggest that a buyer should have before they buy a business like this?
It might be useful to generally understand the online landscape, because I think there's opportunity to, for example, partner with people who have niche sites, affiliate sites, authority sites, news sites to get the product, featured on different websites. There's obviously the website that's currently bringing in a decent amount of traffic that you could increase the traffic to by doing some outreach, getting some more legitimate links, and adding more content to. So, I mean, the things to me that are sort of secondary opportunities, I say secondary because I would say the first one is launching new products. The secondary opportunities are going to come, I think, with someone who sort of has a little bit of a grasp with internet marketing. But otherwise, I mean, there's a reason why, the training companies that launch training for this kind of thing get thousands and thousands of people, is because you don't need to be an expert in any one thing. It's pretty straightforward. Particularly, I'll be able to help you through over the first couple months. Like I've put time aside for Skype calls and that kind of thing, and emails. So I think anyone with drive who wants to have sort of a not full-time job but full-time income can do this. So
That's a really good point and a good segue into some wrap-up questions here. Before we get into how much support you might be offering someone, would you be willing to do a non-compete, commit to a non-compete?
Yeah, I think in this particular industry, that would be totally fine. I mean, I would certainly see this FBA in general as being a good business model continually, and it's something that I would like to pursue eventually, but I would certainly be willing to do that for this industry, definitely.
And how much support would you be willing to offer a buyer?
I wrote this down, and so I don't want to confuse myself, but I mean, I
16 hours every day.
I think like a month should be enough. I mean, like I said, it's not rocket science. I don't want you to feel like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I made the right choice. Just like we do with our products. I mean, I'm happy to go above and beyond to make sure that you're getting what you wanted. So we can do, I don't know, a Skype call every week for a month. You can email me anytime. Basically, like, I just want you to be happy because it's been good for me, and like our products, I want it to be good for you too.
Now, obviously, the best case scenario for you and for Empire Flippers is someone comes in and buys this business for full list price. But would you at all be open to a split or now say 80% down and then 20% over a certain period of time? Maybe that might be a training period or maybe just an earnout in general. Would that be something you'd be at all open to?
I'd basically be open to any offers. I mean, like you said, it's much preferable to have 100% of the price up front. But what I do think can come into play is things like inventory. And I know that's not included in this listing price, but I mean, that's obviously important for the buyer to want to have that. And that could be a potential where, a deal could be made where it's not 100% upfront. But yeah, I'm basically open to anyone who's serious about talking.
Excellent. Yeah, obviously that's a bit of a hard question to answer because it's so case by case basis and very individualized based off what the potential buyer is looking for. So before I ask you my final question, Kurt, my hot seat question, if you will, I want to give a quick summary again for everyone out there listening in. As I mentioned at the top, this business was built in December 2014, has a monthly revenue of $19,354 with expenses sitting at $15,262 for that total net profit of $4,093. Now that is over a 12-month average, and included in the sell is the domain, the site content files, and the social media accounts that are all associated with that domain and the brand. And obviously, as we mentioned, inventory is not normally included in the list price, but further details can be provided to active depositors. So my final question for you, Kurt, is what is your best pitch in 30 seconds or less on why someone should purchase this business?
I think that for a buyer, the best thing about this is you're getting two products for free, basically. And that's something that I don't know where else you're going to find that because I don't know how many people would want to be selling it in my position of launching two products and not including them. And I know that makes me sound crazy, and I don't want that to be a red flag. In fact, I think it should be.
Who is this guy?
Yeah, exactly. It should be the checkered flag. I don't want it to be a red flag. But the reason, like I said, is we're ready to move on and start something new and sort of refresh after this massive life-changing tour around the world. And to get two products, one of which literally sold 19 units 2 days ago and is doing at least 10 a day over the last 4 weeks, I don't know. It's found money, and basically if that was included in the sales price, it would be a lot more. So it's solid. It's been going for over 2 years now, and we've got all the nuts and bolts sorted out, and it's just about launching products, and you get those two for free. So seems like a pretty good deal to me.
Definitely, I would have to agree with you. It's a solid pitch. For those out there, if you're watching this on YouTube and you want more information, the link will be below this video that would take you to the marketplace listing. Now, if you're on the actual listing page and you want more information, you can become a depositor today. It's super easy. All you have to do is click the button, make a deposit. You'll be given everything you need to review this business. So, Kurt, thank you so much for coming on, man. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this today.